Welcome to Horsebytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world. It was Derby week in Hamburg as the local phenomenon descended upon the northern German city. Always a super fun event, hosting both a 5-star and 4-star Derby event, drawing huge local crowds. Montefiasco saw another 4-star in Umbria, and it's a bit of a calm before the Nations Cup storm about to begin as we gear up for Paris. Some other big news in the sport: a couple of top horses changed hands recently, with Lars Kersten's Gothenburg World Cup winning mount Hallelujah going to U.S. rider Caroline Mulvaney, and Dennis Lynch's Dark Chocolate selling for €2.3 million in the Aluga auction. But this week on Horsebytes, we are taking a look at the top 10-year-old crop of horses excelling this year so far and how age correlates to Olympic success. And as we all know in this industry, being a top-level rider isn't the only way to work in our industry, so we will take a look at some of the other job opportunities within our sport that might satisfy your horsey bug. But first, let's take a look at the brave winners from the week. This week was all about the event in Hamburg. We saw Yuri Manser and Miss Blue St. Blue Farm take a stunning win in the €250,000 5-star Grand Prix, beating out Steve Gerda and Andre Time. But it was the Derby event on Sunday that was the real highlight of the week, with repeat winner Marvin Jungel and Baluz Erbin bravely speeding to the victory in a rare jump-off to decide the winner. We also saw the 4-star in Montefiasco see Omar Abdul Aziz Al Marzuki and Enjoy de la Mure beat out a field of 11 in the jump-off across the meter 55 track. Welcome to Showstopper, powered by Equine. As you all know, the Olympics are less than 3 months out, and as riders and horses prepare for the final push before team selection, we thought we'd look back at the peak age for Olympic success and who might be making a bid this year. Historically, like we've spoken about before, horses that show tremendous promise as 10-year-olds tend to be predictors of Olympic success. But taking a look at this year's top 10-year-olds so far, the list doesn't include so many hopefuls. From what we can predict at Horsebytes, which are of course just educated guesses, Greya and Tulane aren't Kent's top picks. Shane is most likely hoping to go with James Conn Cruz. Ben is most likely going with one of his many other more experienced mounts. Richard Vogel is probably hoping for United Touch. Laura has her Olympic silver medalist partner in top shape Balotinu, and so on. So, although many of these 10-year-olds are in top form at the moment, boasting high ELOs all over 703 and with Casses well above standard, even going as high as 13.4, most aren't headed to the games this summer. That being said, over the past 20 years, the average age of a horse that medals in the Olympics is 12.1. Only 3 10-year-olds medaled at the Olympics in their 10th year over the last 5 games, but many of those who medaled when they were older topped the 10-year-old list beforehand. Explosion won as a 12-year-old, but is the all-time top 10-year-old. Big Star was 13 and second on the overall list, and All In was 10 and 15 when he medaled, happily breaking the mold and holding the 6th spot on the all-time list. If we look at last year's top 10 list, however, the top 6 on the list all look like serious contenders for making their respective teams this year as 11-year-olds, certainly getting closer to that peak of 12.1, and I have a feeling we might see one, if not more of them, not only making teams, but potentially winning medals. And as far as this year's top 10 list, we will make sure to keep an eye out on those horses come the World Championships in 2 years or even the LA Olympics in 2028. Remember, top 10-year-olds are great predictors of upcoming success and tell us a lot about who we will see dominate our sport in the near future. Horsebytes, brought to you by Wodust. Arena footing is a huge topic on most equestrians' minds. Is it too hard, too soft, too tight, too loose, too dry, too wet? You always hear the same discussions over and over. But no matter what climate you live in, a well-groomed and even surface is paramount for our furry friends to perform at their best. I recently tried a new product called Wodust and literally saw noticeable differences. It's super effective, economical, and safe arena dust control. Treatments can last up to 16 months. Most arenas cost under $500, and it's 100% biodegradable. Wodust is a polymer that controls the dust in your arena by simply coating the dust particles to make them heavier and pull them down to the ground, while also creating this web-like structure to hold water particles together between the grains of sand. It will reduce the need to water your arena by a minimum of 50%, and many clients report up to a 75% reduction. I can say I'm already using less water than before. Woe Dust works with most footing additives, can be used inside and outside, and is not washed out or diluted by rain. In fact, rain rejuvenates Woe Dust. All I know is that it worked so well, I plan to use it again in a new lunging pen I'm putting in Europe. Follow the link below to order yours today and start enjoying a dust-free arena instantly. This week on Weekly Wonder, we're taking a look at unexpected and unique jobs within the horse industry. As many of us know, being a top rider is no easy feat. It's hard to make money, it requires enormous talent, obviously hard work, tremendous resources, and honestly, a lot of charisma. In fact, riding and owning your own horses is in direct contradiction to making money, because the minute you have a top horse, you most likely need to sell it, and that immediately takes you out of the sport. It's a tough cycle that only a few people succeed at. But that doesn't mean you can't still have a wonderful life in horses. Here at Horse Bytes, we thought we'd highlight some other interesting opportunities within our sport that could help you maintain a connection to your passion while also providing that work-life balance that so many people desire these days. Now, as horse people, we're used to working 7 days a week, 15-hour days, but if that doesn't sound like something for you, here are some other options. The most obvious choice if you're not going to be a rider is, of course, be a dealer. Probably your highest potential to make larger sums of money, but requires a true eye for talent, and most importantly, an ability to match riders with the right horses. This isn't a 9-to-5 job, but certainly less demanding than being a rider. And it can take many forms, from breeding and developing your own horses until sold, running auctions, or just simply brokering deals between buyers and sellers. Head into show management. This would allow you to be stationary if the traveling circus isn't for you, and would give you awesome insight into the inner workings of what it takes to put on world-class events. Go work for your favorite equestrian brand. Maybe you have a love for fashion, maybe tech, maybe nutrition. A great opportunity to continue to attend events with trade stands and stay involved with our ever-evolving industry. Or if you're more of a tech person, get involved with one of the many new companies developing innovations for our sport to help both the horses and riders. Could be a safety invention, could be a new veterinary process, could be a new way to capture motion. Whatever the tech, getting involved with a company trying to evolve our sport is always fascinating and helpful to everyone in the industry. Go into horse transportation. If you like driving or traveling, there are never enough truck drivers with commercial lorry licenses in our sport. So get yourself licensed and help move our furry friends from show to show. And if land travel doesn't suit your fancy, you can be a professional equine flight groom, which could take you across the world as a flight attendant for the world's most elite horses. Check out last week's episode to hear from a top equine flight groom what it's all about. And if you want to stick closer to the animals themselves, apply to be a barn manager or groom.
Well, I came over to Germany because I was going to be the next big rider, and found out that it takes way too much that I don't have to be the next rider. But I love horses and I love taking care of them, and I transitioned into grooming.
Perhaps the most demanding of the options, and requires not only an extensive skill set learned over many years, but for those who maybe don't have the means or overwhelming talent needed to be a top rider, can stay close to the sport and the animals in this sector. Certainly not one of the options that prioritizes work-life balance, but can absolutely satisfy a burning passion for being deeply ingrained in the sport. Maybe shaping policy and governance are more your style, so consider working for the FEI or your national federations or even the IJRC to help make our sport as fair, equitable, and safe as possible. There is always room for improvement in our governing bodies, and although this job may not be super glamorous, it's vital to the success and sustainability of our industry. And last but not least, how about considering a job in equine broadcasting? You could be a camera operator, a producer, director, commentator, announcer, sound engineer, or even be your own content creator, etc. The opportunities are endless and still keep you connected to the sport. Hey, you could even be a part of Horse Bytes. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and certainly let us know if you hadn't thought of any of these. We can even do a deep dive if you guys want to know more about certain sectors. Remember, riding isn't your only option, and with staffing being a major issue in our industry these days, try to think outside the box and explore your passion in more ways than one. We live in a dopamine culture, and instant gratification is so common these days. But horse sport is one of those industries that if you stick with it, you will be rewarded with long-term benefits. Be patient, put the time in, get educated, and enjoy your passion rather than look for a quick buck. But now, let's take a look at some wild things from in and outside the sport.
All right, let's see what this week's Wild Things have in store. First up, guys come to a jump. One, he's standing. Two, they take off at different times. Look at that timing. It's hard enough doing this on one animal. Holy cow, that's unbelievable. Oh, that's so cute. I think they're having a chat with each other. Like, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing today? So cute. Oh, not cute, not cute. Oh, the whole saddle comes off. Look at that. Oh, and then he flicks him off again. And those were your Wild Things of the week.
That's a wrap on this week's top highlights. Stay tuned to all of our socials. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow along all the action as it unfolds here on Horse Bytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world.